Well, the Tampa Bay area, no strangers are crowning a champion. This is the 4th time hosting the Women's Final Four, and the city is getting a little bit of everything from past champions, newcomers, all focused on one goal. Of course, the Morning Buzz, presented by Marriott Bonvoy, over 30 hotel brands for every kind of fan. And today, we're here on the road. That is Zach Aldridge. I'm Brandon Baylor. But, of course, we are with some actual hoopers from back in the day. Our point guard one and Renee Montgomery, our Hall of Famer Lisa Leslie. And, of course, we are here because of the Final Four. We have 4 teams, 4 powerhouse programs when you talk about it. UCLA, Texas, South Carolina. But out of curiosity, too, also UConn. Put some respect on that. When you
Wait, why?
Oh, well,
already?
But we have one here. We have one here. We have one here. We have one here. We have one here.
Go
ahead. When you talk about their journey to get to this point, what it takes, the ups and downs, the injuries teams go through, the ebbs and flows, just kind of break down what you've seen from each 4 teams here and how they got to this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think on both sides of the bracket, it's the powerhouses rose to the top. UConn's the only number 2 seed that made it. But when you look at these programs, I think no one's surprised that South Carolina is here with a Don Staley-led program, the reigning champs until somebody knocks them off. Then you have Texas, defense, killing it. Obviously, UConn, put some respect on their name. Lisa. I mean, I'm just saying, UConn was the number 2 seed that everybody was talking about. It's like, even if they weren't the number 1 seed in the bracket, everybody had that group circled, like, oh, well, you got to get through UConn to get to the Final Four. They ended up being USC, which I really am sad about, that they didn't have a full strength Juju Watkins-led team, because that was going to be must-see TV. You know, like, I would have loved to see that matchup. And then lastly, UCLA, the number 1 overall, Corey Close leading that group, Lauren Betts, Kiki Rice. I mean, they're just a powerhouse right now. Lauren Betts has to stay out of foul trouble because they're a different team with her on the court and off. But yeah, that was what I think. You ready to put some respect on UConn's name, Lisa? What you got? What you got, legend?
Listen, Paige Buckets, she's done phenomenal, and you have to put respect on UConn's name. It's just that I think when we think about women's basketball and what Geno Auriemma has been able to do with the UConn, you guys have like a legendary program, and so it's great to see other teams have this opportunity, to see a team from the West Coast. You know, I'm always representing the West Coast. UCLA to make it as the number 1 seed, first time in program history, and to get to this point where they make it to the Final Four. I think it's just great. You talk about the West Coast and them moving to the Big Ten. It's the first time I feel like the whole country's been able to see some West Coast basketball where they still weren't sleeping on what was happening. And then, like you said, with Juju Watkins and USC, just the fact that Juju went down the way that she did and USC not to be at full strength, I was hoping that was going to be like the game that, you know, so of course my bracket's blown up because USC's not here. So I'll just leave it at that. So go ahead, UConn. Y'all go ahead and strut.
I was going to say, it's a lot of love for UCLA. I just tried to remember where you went to school. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they just all gravitate to the West Coast.
Okay.
I'm just like, you know, I understand that.
West side is the best side.
Okay.
You know, we are here in Florida, so we need to show some love to Florida and the Tampa area where we are, because although it's the 4 of us, we have a bigger team as well. Haley Sutton, we're tossing it off to her because she's giving even more of a table setter to set this scene for everything here at the Final Four.
What's up, guys? I'm Haley Sutton, coming to you from Tampa, where the women's Final Four is set to tip off this weekend. There are fans from all over the country ready to watch some women's basketball action. I'm at the Tampa Marriott Water Street location, one of over 30 Marriott Bonvoy properties, perfect for every kind of fan. And when it comes to the action this weekend, we're watching out for a lot of firsts, starting with the host site itself. Tampa, the first site to host this event 4 times, and we could see some more along the way. Let's start with the 7 p.m. game between Texas and South Carolina. The Gamecocks looking to be the first team to repeat as champions since 2016, when the Huskies did it under current head coach Geno Auriemma. If anyone has the recipe to take down this South Carolina squad, though, it is Texas, looking to punch their ticket to their first championship game since 1986. Now, of course, there's a lot more history that comes with this tournament. Only 1 seeds have ever won here in Tampa, but don't tell that to the most decorated team in NCAA tournament history. UConn comes into the matchup as a number 2 seed, looking to send their star Paige Buckets off with a bang. On the other side of that one, you got a UCLA squad looking at a handful of firsts of their own. Their first ever number 1 overall seed, their first ever Final Four appearance, and hopefully, if things go well for the Bruins, it could be their first championship appearance in program history. We've got a lot of things we're watching out for here in Tampa, and we are so excited to bring you all the action.
Thank you, Haley. I want to go back to that South Carolina game and start here to talk about where they need to go to be able to make this next step. Because for me, Renee, it feels like the offense has just been a little bit stagnant. They've been squeaking by a little bit, still getting wins, and Chloe Kitts is playing well, but it seems that they need more from the others because they have such a deep bench.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about South Carolina. When they're going downhill and they get to the paint, they're a nightmare. They're hard to stop. But if you can find a way to corral them and make them play from the perimeter, that's where they have struggled a bit. Their bench has been one of their biggest, brightest shining points, starting with Malaysia Fawali. I mean, she's one of those must-see TV players where if you see her make a play, you probably see a play, a highlight every time of their games because she's just that dynamic. But when teams keep that post out, that's where they really struggle. And another thing about South Carolina is they're a team fully, and they don't necessarily have one star that leads their team, and that's a good thing, but that also can be a tough part when you need someone to lean on. They're looking for that player sometimes. You mentioned Chloe Kitts, and she is their leader and their star, but at times when you're depending on the full team, it's about who's going to step up. So I think South Carolina has to just find ways to have more people contribute on the offensive end.
Lisa, how do you stop Chloe Kitts if that's like your priority number one and you're thinking, okay, we're going to let Tahina Papau shoot, we're going to let Tessa Johnson shoot, and take your chances if you want to stop Chloe?
Well, I think Chloe, establishing whether she's going to shoot from the inside with her step-through move. We've seen her huge Euro move getting to the basket, and also her ability to shoot from the outside. I think with Texas and their defense, both these teams, listen, are two of the best defensive teams in the country. That's why they're here in the Final Four. And they make the game look ugly. South Carolina's found ways to win ugly. And so it looks like they're both out of rhythm offensively, I think, for Texas as well as South Carolina. But I think Chloe Kitts is one of those players that being physical with her is one of the ways to slow her down. But she finds a way. She really does have that dog in her. She gets to the basket, her rebounding abilities, her crash the boards. But I think overall, South Carolina has not played their best basketball. And when you look at them, they're here back. They are the defending champions. But Renee, they found ways to win ugly. Offense is not flowing. It looks like the outside players are not able to knock down shots. But I think it's because they're not really in a good flow. And guess what? They're not going to be in another good flow playing Texas. But I also think Texas is not in a very good flow offensively as well. So again, I think South Carolina can still pull out the win. I think the score is going to be very low. I don't think that we're going to see this. I feel like UCLA and UConn, their offense is so fluid right now. Whereas these two teams, offense is not fluid, but that defense, they're going to hang their hat on that still once again.
So that goes back to Texas, of course, fourth time seeing both teams together. South Carolina winning 2 of the 3. However, when it comes to Texas, like you mentioned, it has to come to the defense. And then also Madison Booker, the SEC Player of the Year, she has to show up. How does that happen in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Madison Booker, I believe she's averaging like 18 points per game, so she's clearly their leader. They need other players as well. It's kind of the same with South Carolina, where it's like you have your one player, but who else is going to contribute, especially when you're looking at other teams like on the other side of the bracket where UConn has multiple contributors, Paige Becker, Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd. You look at UCLA, Kiki Rice, Lauren Betts. So when you look on this side, they have stars. Madison Booker really is the one that has been carrying the load, but their defense is what they're going to hang their hat on. That's what they're long, they're lean, they make it ugly, as you mentioned, and so that's why it's going to be important. But at the end of the day, you can play a lot of defense, but somebody has to put the ball in the hole. We know Madison Booker is going to do it. Who else is going to do it?
Lisa, just for Madison Booker, too, because she's shooting, I think, in this series between the two of them, under 26%. Is this a force feed, Madison, you take over, or she needs to find herself in this game?
Well, I think, again, with South Carolina, it's one of those things you got to try and do your best. She loves that 10, 12-foot jumper. They know that. These teams obviously have faced each other. This will be their 4th time this season. I mean, when you think about just that alone, it's so tough to beat a team over and over. And Renee, once we face opponents, we get a steady digest of what they want. I would think, again, I'm not on South Carolina's side, but I would think the goal would be make somebody else beat us other than Booker, right? That's the only thing that you can do. Their defense is so stellar. You got what they call it, the seatbelt defense with their guards, and I mean, they have been just phenomenal. So I think it's going to be other players that have to step up. And again, sometimes when you get to this point in a match, you're talking about the 50-50 balls. You're talking about the hardened effort. You're talking about offensive rebounds. Those are the areas where I think Texas at times has advantage, and then South Carolina at times takes advantage. And who's going to rebound the ball the best, I think, will win this game.
So, Renee, we talked about this before the show started, and game predictions. We have to get there.
Boy, here we go.
You got to stand on business.
You got to say it.
The question for you is, who do you have winning between Texas and South Carolina?
Man, I have South Carolina. It's tough, though, because this is both teams. It's going to be defense. So I know we say defense wins championships, but this is really a defensive-minded matchup. I got South Carolina. I'm just going off the strength of they have a larger team effort in a sense of that sense, but I really, as I'm saying it, I don't know, but y'all made me pick.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Oh, look at that. Look at the magic. The TV magic.
Look
at that.
South Carolina.
Look at that.
Lisa.
Listen, I picked South Carolina before my brackets got blown up with SC versus South Carolina, so that would still be my choice.
Same.
South Carolina getting to the finals. Now, if I had seen the way that they are playing and the way they're winning, I think that's why we're so unsure, because it feels like they've stumbled into the Final Four. But again, what I hang my hat on is the fact that they have not played their best basketball. Can Pow get going from the outside? Absolutely. Can Johnson knock down threes? Absolutely. So if they can find ways to get some outside threes dropping, as well as the inside staying tough and rebounding, I think South Carolina wins. But we could also say the exact same thing about Texas. So
yeah, no, here they gonna come with the receipts. You know how social media teams be coming with the
It's already in the
receipts.
ether. It's already out there.
But,
By the way, how do you say Tahina's last name?
So I'm a fan of saying Tahina. Pow, pow!
Oh,
Yeah, every morning. Every morning. So
went off though. Like, she really has struggled a little bit, and it's been surprising. I almost think she doesn't shoot enough. She doesn't take enough shot attempts. I feel like for them to really win all the way, win the national championship, she's got to get up 10, 12 jumpers. Like, she's got to get them up because she's more likely to make it. Johnson, they're so unselfish though. They really play a unselfish brand of basketball, and so does UConn. I mean, Paige has gone off. She's gone off.
So is that who your pick is, Lisa Leslie?
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's get to that side of the bracket because, as we mentioned, you guys both said that was a defensive matchup between those two. This is where the offense. And you look at UCLA, what they've done, a 1 seed getting here for the first time, and Lauren Betts, she has been the key, the catalyst for this offense, and also on the defensive side. What does she need to do in this matchup against UConn?
Yeah, I think the main thing she needs to do is stay on the floor. When Lauren Betts is on the floor, they're a completely different team. Obviously, having a 6'7" shot blocker, low post threat, it just changed the game for them. And also, she's an emotional leader on that team. You can just see that even after the games when they interview her, she talks so highly about how connected this team is, how much they trust each other. So I think the main thing for Lauren Betts is just staying on the court, because when she's on the court, she's dynamic and her team is dynamic.
I love the stats with her being 20 points, 3 rebounds, 3 block shots, joining an elite group with Asia Wilson and Brittany Griner. What I love about Lauren Betts is her toughness, her fight. You can tell that she really wants to will her team to win. But here's the thing that I would say. My criticism about the big girls is stop trying to get closer to the basket. Remember, double teams are usually cued off the dribble. Every time the big girls get the ball, Lauren Betts included, she wants to take that one dribble and then turn. But that one dribble is allowing the defense to come and trap. And I think if she finds ways to get that ball, just turn and shoot. You don't have to get closer. She has a beautiful shot, soft shot over the top. She will be unstoppable without the dribble. And so if she can do that, you got to know Geno, one of the best coaches we've ever seen in the history of history of basketball, he will have something to do with her in that dribble. The other thing is Sarah Strong, and I know we're having kind of switched over, but Sarah Strong.
Lisa, we're on their show.
Well, I'm just telling you, Lauren Betts.
Something to ask us
What you want to ask about?
Okay, Lisa, I'll go to you first, okay? We'll start with Renee, but I'll go to you.
Get in here.
My question is about UConn, and it is about their victory. So you can talk about Sarah Strong if you want to, because it seems like even when you get a game from AZ Flood where she doesn't play that well against USC, they still dominate.
Listen, when I say to you, Sarah Strong is the real deal, baby. She is dynamite. And, okay, I won't do the puns. Okay, she's strong. But on the inside.
She said you can do puns only if they're good. So
if they're good. All right. Listen, the jumper from the outside is so wet. The three-point shot, her inside game, her IQ, and her defense. The fact that she was manning the paint against USC as a freshman. Explain to me why Kiki was out the paint. They settled for jumpers because Sarah Strong was manning the paint. So I'm a fan of these amazing players, all the teams I love. But Sarah Strong is a player that she is going to be one of the best post players. Why? it's not just her IQ, it's her decision making, it's her footwork, it's her ability, the soft touch on the inside. Renee, the three-pointer from the outside.
Come on now.
Now, Lauren Betts, she's going to have to play her best game because Sarah has the body to push her out, and if she needs that dribble to get closer, Geno's going to have that double team over there. Geno's going to force somebody else to beat them other than Lauren Betts. Mic drop.
You did it.
Because Lisa's running the show, okay? We was the guests on the set.
No, we a team. We're all a team.
All right. Y'all asked me to come. You already knew what you was getting.
Exactly.
Do you have anything to ask me?
Yeah, Renee, like, how do you feel about UConn? I'm just taking it more from there.
There you go. Go ahead.
Go home for a second.
How you feel, sis?
Yo, I'm
Take two mics.
Listen, I'm just saying, from the beginning, my bracket was never busted. I had UConn going, and there's always people like, oh, of course. There's always the team that I'm rooting for, and then there's my analysis. But some years it doesn't work out the same way, where I'm texting CD or Coach like, Coach, really, how you feeling? I don't know what I'm seeing. Are we there? But usually it's because we're not hurt. The best thing that UConn has going is that we're actually healthy. You know, a lot of times people are judging us on how our players are playing when they're definitely not 100%. We have Paige that's healthy. We have AZ coming in healthy. People talk about that Tennessee game a lot. That was AZ coming right back out after the injury. Now she's had a couple of games under her belt. We saw what she could do in certain rounds. And to your point, she doesn't have to have a huge game every time. There's Sarah Strong, who I was listening to all the records that she's breaking, and her and Maya Moore is the only ones in these categories. So when you're in a category with Maya Moore is the only other one, look out. Like IQ strong, post game strong, 3-point strong. I hope you like that, Sarah, because I know you don't play. But that's a freshman we're talking about.
Right.
So she's going against a seasoned Lauren Betts. I think that's exciting. Like for me, when I had these kind of matchups, like I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to test to see where do I fall in the lines. We just saw Lauren Betts is in with the greats, 20 and 3 blocks. So if I'm Sarah Strong, I'm like, well, let me see where I'm at then. You know, if Lauren Betts is one of the best, let me see how I match up. And then obviously Paige is in a similar position as I was my senior year. You can't go to UConn and leave without a championship. It's stressful.
Right.
So my senior year, I was stressed out. Everybody's asking me, well, what are you gonna do if you don't win? And I hope Paige can drop the mic and say, I guess we never will know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I hope that's what Paige can do. But you know, that's where it's at right now. Paige is on a mission. I think her teammates will back it.
Well, if that's the case, we need your pick now between this game. You gonna be Homer or you going the opposite way? Renee, go ahead.
What do you mean I'm not gonna be a homer? I'm gonna be a winner.
I'm just asking.
I'm gonna be a winner.
We already know where you're going.
With UConn,
the TV magic is gonna show.
And what does your bracket really say, Lisa? Because I know what's your bracket say? Go ahead and put my Huskies down there. Yes.
My bracket said USC was going to beat UConn in the Elite Eight. That's what my bracket said. But since Juju's at home, UConn.
She said since Juju's at home.
That's why I wanted to be doing Juju on that beat right now.
That's why I wanted her to play, because I don't want no asterisks beside our win.
Y'all already got the asterisk. Trust me.
We don't have no asterisks. So go ahead. I'm gonna let
How many points did we lose by? Juju would have had 30, so we would have technically won by 5.
That ain't mathing like
Remember, you went with UCLA, Lisa. So you can't change the UConn now.
All right, fine. I'm going to choose UCLA because the West Coast. I'm riding with the West Coast. Lauren Betts will find a way.
She don't even believe it. Okay, not even saying it with her chest.
No smile on her face or anything. Like, there's none of that.
Only because of Sarah Strong, though.
She didn't even want to pick. She just didn't want to pick UConn so bad. She picked UCLA. It'd be like
makes
that
better
sometimes.
for the show.
They're rapping us crazy in our ear right now. So we have to go to break real quick, but we will still kick it in just a little bit. The buzz, of course, is here in Tampa, but there's even more fun back in studio in Fort Lauderdale because it was a busy night of sports last night everywhere. We're outside of Amalie Arena getting ready for the Final Four, but when you come back, Jacqueline D'Agostino will be in studio to show you everything for the sports world that happened just last night.
I don't think I've ever coached someone in this generation where they have to deal with this type of scrutiny and pressure that comes from the world that they live in. She's the first one. The other guys were able to kind of navigate it. You know, there was pressure, but not like there is today. So for her to get all the attention she gets, have all the demands on her life, all the expectations in her life, and still be able to deliver, I thought she was a unique individual when I saw her in high school, and she's very unique. So she's now between 1 and 1,000. When I say unique, I think she's closer to 1 or 2 or 3 most unique players I've ever coached, and I'm really going to miss her. I can't say that out loud.
Well, you said it, Coach. It was loud, but loud enough. Take a look at this resume here. 11 national titles, over 1,200-plus wins there. The win percentage best all time, an 8-time Naismith Coach of the Year. That belongs on his resume. And you heard him there getting a little emotional about Paige Beckers. Brandon Baylor here, Zach Aldrich, Renee Montgomery, and Lisa Leslie. And I want to go to you, of course, Renee, because we heard Geno there getting a little emotional, but you don't see it that way. However, when you think about it, Paige Beckers, one of his best players ever, maybe looking for another title, number 12 this year. If that happens, could this be the last ride for Geno?
What y'all trying to sunset my guy?
It's a perfect story.
It is a perfect story. I mean, everybody wants to ride off into the sunset on a win. That's kind of like the best case scenario. My senior year was the only win we had, but I was like, all right, peace, I'm out, But I'm curious his thought process, because there's so many ways to look at it. You could look at it as in, all right, we're back on top. Let's get a couple more before I go, or you could ride out in it. But the thing about coaches and their legacy is it's what they leave behind. And you look at great coaches, even right now with Dawn Staley, you can tell her connectivity is what keeps her close to her players. It's not just the players that play there right now. It's you still see her repping Asia's shoe, Asia's clothing line. Anytime her players have something coming out, she's the #1 fan of it. That's the connectivity that she builds. That's the culture. And with Coach Auriemma, he has a culture of excellence. It's why I chose to go to UConn. There was, all of us, we could have chose any school we wanted to go to. So you really start to look at schools, and the way you judge a school is by their coach and what their culture is. And and it is crazy seeing him be emotional.
Yes.
Is he getting old, Coach? What's going on, man, Coach? Are you getting old? Because it's like, Coach is no nonsense, but he has the bar set so high for you. It's like you expect him to get onto you. If he does give you a compliment, you're waiting on but what? Because that's just not how he rolls. But I think he's still doing that at this time. It's crazy to see that he has changed a little bit. I don't want to say he's gotten softer, but he probably got a little softer, Coach. I know they're probably not doing the same things, but he still gets the same results, and that's the culture that he has.
At least you have a different perspective on that from a distance.
Well, I just think Geno has accomplished so much that you're not sure when the end is for him. But I also don't like that as we age in our country, just in general, we look at people and go, oh, is it time? Yes. Are you leaving? And I felt like that happened to me even in my career, where I'm like, bro, I'm like 32. I'm not old. Stop asking me about retiring. You know what I mean? And I feel like we do that. So it's great to see him. Yes, Coach is getting older, and yes, maybe sometimes, just like a parent, you don't parent the first kids the way you do the second set of kids. It's just you're a little bit more lenient, and I think that he's still getting these amazing results. When you look at the freshmen that he has and Sarah Strong, is he ready to hang it up or not? But when you look at Paige Beckers and what she's been able to accomplish, her in that space of a Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi, you look at all of these legends that UConn has produced, and you see Paige Beckers is right there at the top. That would make any coach emotional, like, damn, I did it again. I got another one. You know what I mean? He's like DJ Khaled in this joint. Oh, yeah, I like that.
Give it to him.
And another one. It's like, so obviously the icing on the cake would be to win another national championship. So hats off to Geno Auriemma, what he's been able to do with the UConn program. We joke about it like he's low-key hating, but we're not. It's been phenomenal to see the excellence, and I can really honestly say some of my best favorite teammates have been UConn players.
Come on,
Oh, look at this.
That's the truth.
Look at this.
And
my partners on the desk. You're an excellent teammate.
We got a thing going on, but to that point, AZ just said she's coming back for another year, people. I'm just saying.
Not in the portal. She's coming back to UConn.
She's coming back to UConn.
Yes.
UConn doesn't have a lot of portal activity a lot of times, which is interesting and not interesting to me because I never considered transferring, even though it was different times there. But you got AZ Fudd coming back. You got likely players of the Year candidate Sarah Strong coming back, because she's going to be Freshman of the Year, that is already a nucleus that is something to work with. So I know that, like, sometimes when a great player leaves, it feels like it could be over. But for UConn, I mean, there's still a lot of firepower coming.
Yeah. Lisa, just real quick then, because we talked a lot about Geno.
Yes,
when you look at
did.
Dawn Staley, because Renee brought up Dawn Staley, how do you view the way she's built what she's done? And you have about a minute here.
Listen, the legacy that Dawn Staley has built, when you talk about getting to the Final Four 7 times, winning 3 titles, and possibly a chance to win a 4th title, you're creating a dynasty of your own. And yes, when you look at UConn, that is tough, but you also, I think she's learned a lot from their program. The way that she's been able to keep Asia Wilson, or you look at Aaliyah Boston, the way her players come back. I would have loved for our program at USC to create that with all of our legends, and we didn't have it. So we see what it looks like. I think Dawn's seen what it looks like, and she's been able to build that. So we hope that, again, I hope, as a friend watching, that she's able to continue to get some of the best players in the country to go play in South Carolina.
You were singing some DJ Khaled earlier, and they also say it's so hard to say goodbye. Like, we have to say goodbye.
I know, Renee.
I don't want to be
Geno got you.
but they're wrapping us. But look, y'all will see yourselves again, because although we're done right here, I want you to see
look at this TV magic we got for you guys.
Your faces.
Look at that. Look at that.
No love for myself and Brandon.
We're nowhere near.
It's ladies' night, fellas.
That's
You
fair.
gotta take a
That's
back seat
fair.
today, all right? We're here for a good time, not
We
a long
will
time.
be right back on the other side. Keep it here, tapped in with the Morning Buzz from Tampa.
Yeah, Jacqueline, I can tell you that the vibes in Tampa right now are much better than the vibes out in Atlanta and your Braves. Check out this crowd we've got early on. We've got fans out here ready to watch the Women's Final Four action. I'm Haley Sutton alongside my girl, Tarika Foster-Brasby. Tarika, there are so many storylines that we are following in this tournament. We're tight on time, though, so let's get to this quick.
Yeah.
You're going to give me a player to watch.
Yeah.
Let's start with the UConn Huskies.
Yep.
No surprise here, you're paying attention to Paige Beckers. What do you like about her in this tournament?
There is absolutely nothing that Paige cannot do, and that is what makes her so incredibly dangerous. You want someone who can pull off the bounce and shoot? That's Paige. You want someone who can pull up from 3? That's Paige. And she is on a mission. She knows that it is not common for stars to come to stores and not leave with the hardware, and this is her last opportunity to do that. So you better believe that she is looking to get it done this time around.
She had a 40-point performance earlier in this tournament.
Plays no
She's
games.
averaging 20.1 points per game in this tournament, so she has been electric. On the other side of this matchup, though, defensively, they're going to have their work cut out for them if they're going to watch out for Paige, but they got a little secret over there on UCLA. Her name is Lauren Betts.
I don't know if you've heard of her. Better yet, I don't know if you've seen her. She might be 6'7", you know, and she dominates inside the paint, and that is what makes her so dangerous, because she can do it both offensively and defensively. She is one of those people that understands the assignment each and every time, and when she gets on the low block, you can barely stop her. She also knows how to pick up the double team really well. So if she sees it coming, she knows how to kick it back out. That makes her incredibly good.
The Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, and shout out to her. She's coming back to college to play another year, so we get one more year of her potentially in this tournament. Let's go to the other matchup, an all-SEC showdown. South Carolina, Texas. I'm really excited to see this 4th meeting between these two teams. Let's talk about Texas first, a team who hasn't seen a national championship since the late 1980s. Who are you watching?
Well, we are watching Madison Booker. If you know anything about Texas, you know that defense is what they do and how they get here. But Madison Booker is what keeps them on the offensive end. Madison Booker is the one who can pull up, again, from anywhere. She knows how to attack the basket. She is the offensive threat. And when you are looking for someone to keep Texas alive during this matchup, as it may be an opportunity for them to kind of pull back into it, Madison Booker is the one that you want to have the ball in her hands.
You know, she lost a lot of weight in the offseason because she said that she wanted to be able to stay on the court for longer, picking up the slack that they lost when Rory Harmon tore her ACL. She has been so effective. On the other side of this matchup, of course, South Carolina, the reigning champs. There's so many players that we could pick out and talk about. Who's the one that's got your attention?
You know, that's what makes South Carolina so dangerous, is that at any moment it could be anyone. But I think we need to keep an eye out for Joyce Edwards. Now, she hasn't had her best performances throughout the tournament, but coming into this tournament, Joyce Edwards has been unbelievable as a freshman. She protects the boards. She comes off the bench, which gives South South Carolina another additional threat as it relates to depth. And what I love is that she has adaptability. She knows that when her number is called, she's got to figure out where she gets in to fit in, and she fits in just fine.
Joyce Edwards, my kind of girl. She won state championships in volleyball and soccer in high school, so she's a multi-sport athlete. We've got so much more to watch. Tarika, you've got a lot more to talk about. You're going to stick around and hang out with the Buzz Boys. We're going to take a quick break here from Tampa. We will keep you updated as the day rolls along. Here's a look at the matchups that we have got on deck. It is Texas, South Carolina, the All-SEC Showdown, getting us underway at 7, and then UConn, UCLA at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Back here on HQ with beautiful Tampa as we get set for the women's Final Four tonight. Tons of flair, tons of excitement in the air as we are getting set for 2 great games tonight. Is a full crew here. We brought the Buzz on the road here. Zach Aldridge here along with Brandon Baylor and Tarika Foster-Brasby. And Tarika, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We broke it down. I want to get your game picks here. Let's start with Texas, South Carolina. Who you taking?
I am taking South Carolina 70-65. I think it'll be a close one, but we know that South Carolina knows how to shut down Madison Booker, and that's their star. So we might see a repeat of that tonight.
So that's probably the defensive matchup between those two. The offense on the other side, UConn taking on UCLA. We already know the story of Paige Beckers and Lauren Betts on that side. What are you thinking in that matchup?
A little closer, but I'm taking UConn over UCLA 78-71. Again, I think that Lauren Betts is going to have herself a day, but I think Paige Beckers is just going to be a little bit better.
What can we expect? Any surprises here? Any surprises between these 4 teams you might get?
Honestly, I think that might be like the surprise, the fact that they won't have an answer for Lauren Betts, and so she will keep them in this game. It may be a lot closer again than some people anticipate because UConn has played so well, but ultimately I do think UConn has just that little bit extra of an edge outside of Lauren Betts, outside of Paige Beckers that can help push them over the edge.
So maybe looking at a South Carolina UConn final. It will be fun. We have had fun this hour here on HQ. Hope everyone enjoyed tapping in with us. We brought the show on the road to all the crew who tapped in, from Lisa, from Renee, Brandon Baylor, Zach Aldridge, Haley Sutton, and Jack back in studio. Adios.